how to use an AI agent in your C# Blazor app to query your local database. Here we have a Blazor app with a page showing the person table. We're going to ask our AI agent a question. Show us all the people who are older than 30. It takes the prompt and thinks for a bit, then it returns all the people with an age greater than 30. Let's add to our prompt and ask it to sort this in ascending order by age. We can make our prompt a little more intricate by only choosing persons who are female. That seems magical, but how does it actually work? The user, instead of writing their own SQL statements to query the database, will write a prompt in natural language. The prompt is then sent to our AI agent. In this demonstration, we will show how to install and implement a local AI agent. This agent can interpret natural language and generate the SQL statement for the user. This statement is then sent to a service in our app's API. AI being what it is, the API service first does some validations to make sure the SQL statement is safe. It then runs the query against the database, and the result is sent back to the user. Here, in our log file, you can see how the AI agent interpreted the user's prompt. For example, the prompt "show all people older than 30" correctly generates the SQL statement, but the agent got the column names wrong. It used age with a lowercase a. This is where the API validation will correct the column names before querying the database. Right, let's jump in and start with our local AI agent. To handle our natural language processing, we're going to use Ollama to set up our own local AI agent. While you could use paid for AI services like ChatGPT, Claude, and so on, Ollama is your own private AI. It's free with no limits. You can make as many AI requests as you like, and all your requests are private. Nothing is sent to some cloud service. It can run small language models to fit a mobile device or larger language models if you have a more powerful setup. When you go to ollama.com, click on Download and select your operating system. Once the Ollama setup file has downloaded, open it and click Install. When it finishes, it will run and ask you which commercial language model it should use. We're not going to use this. We're going to download our own LLM. So close Ollama and back on the website, click on Models. Before we continue, you can check that Ollama is installed by opening a terminal and typing Ollama -- version. Back to the models, one of the benefits of Ollama is that it can run a very wide range of large language models. And you can install as many as you have space on your system. Each model has its own advantages, but for the most part it is about size. We're going to choose Google's Gemma 4, which is perfect for our purposes. It's well suited for agentic workflows and coding. The Gemma 4 LLMs come in different sizes. The E2B, for example, is effectively using 2 billion parameters. This is suited for mobile devices or lower-end systems with up to 4 gigabytes of RAM. For modern systems with 8 to 16 gigabytes of RAM and graphics cards, the E4B model seems to be the standard. The number of parameters is an indication of how accurate it can interpret natural language. For this demonstration, the smaller E2B model will do the job. Again, you can install more than one and choose which one to use, provided your system has the specifications to run it. To download the model, we go back to our terminal and type Ollama followed by the name of the model you want. This will take a moment to download. The E2B model in this case is 7.2 gigabytes. When the download completes, you can type Ollama list to see the available models. With that in hand, you can run Ollama and tell it which model to use. It will think for a bit, then give you a prompt to ask it a question. We're just going to ask it who it is. It will start thinking and show you its thinking process, then give you the response, "Hello, I am Gemma 4, a large language model developed by Google DeepMind." And that's it. We got our own private AI LLM running. Ollama is a service and is always available in the background, waiting for a prompt. Like any service, if you no longer need it, you can either disable the service or uninstall it completely. Right. Let's go look at the Blazor app that's going to use our new local AI LLM. The Blazor page is pretty straightforward. It has an input box for the user to enter their prompt. The reset button will clear the prompt and show all person records again. The Run Query button will take the user prompt and execute the query. Below that is the table showing the results of the query. Our solution consists of a standard Blazor server project, an API, and a shared project for the models. In the server project, we have our people page. It's interactive, and it has a reference to the shared models, which essentially is only the person class. It also has a reference to the front-end services, which is just the people service that will call the back-end API endpoints. Erase the input box and the two buttons. The reset button will be disabled while the query is busy running. We have some messages that display whether there's an error, if it's busy thinking, or if no results were found. Below that we have a table to show the list of people selected by the query. In the code section, we have a person list for the results, a query text for the input box, an is busy flag, and an error message. When the page initially loads, all the person records are loaded and displayed. The run query method does some initialization of the variables, then uses the people service to run the query text. Any errors are reported through the error message. The reset method essentially just reloads all the person records and clears the query text. Under a service folder in the front end, we have the people service with its corresponding interface class. The HTTP client that is injected into it is set up in the program.cs file. The getAllPeople method calls the get endpoint in the people controller in the API. The run query method takes the user prompt and calls the post endpoint in the query controller. If successful, it creates the list of person. If not, it will retrieve the error from the response and pass it on to the Blazor page to handle. Here is the program.cs where we set up the HTTP address and register the people service. Let's look at the rest of the architecture. We're just quickly running through this so you can see we're not doing anything weird here. It's just a run-of-the-mill architecture. In the shared project, which is just a class library, we have the person model we mentioned earlier. It's got an ID, first name, last name, age, and gender. Then we have a query request class to send the user prompt to the endpoint. You don't need this. It's just safer sending an object to the endpoint rather than the raw text string. Then in the API project, we have our DB context under a data folder. Here we just point our people DB set to a table called person. The database itself is a SQLite file you can see in the solution. Our app settings file points our connection string directly to this file. And finally, we register our DB context with that connection string. In a services folder, we have our people service. It gets the DB context injected into it, and the first method simply retrieves all the person records. Once we receive the SQL statement from our AI agent, we're going to validate it, then run it against our database to retrieve the selected records. The validation is very important. We're dealing with AI here, and you can never be certain of what kind of result it will give back to us. The first test makes sure that it actually contains a select statement, otherwise it will throw an exception. Remember, these exceptions boil up to our front end where the Blazor page can deal with them. The second test makes sure that it's querying the correct table. In the third test, we check that AI is using the correct column names. Since AI has no real knowledge of our table, it may interpret last name as last_name and so on. Here we're just replacing such discrepancies with the actual column names. The last test, just for safe measures, make sure the SQL does not include any destructive keywords. We register our people service in the program.cs file and inject it into the people controller. Here, we only have a getAllPeople endpoint. The service method to run the SQL statement against the person table, we will call from our query controller. While in the controllers, let's look at the query controller. This is where things start happening. It uses our Ollama Service, which we will look at in a moment. It also needs the people service because this has the method that runs the SQL statement against the database. The run query post endpoint gets the user prompt by means of a query request object, the same query request class we defined in our shared project. Then it calls the generate SQL method on our Ollama service. This will generate a SQL statement from the user prompt. We use that to call the execute SQL method we just talked about in the people service. Again, any of those SQL validation exceptions will be caught here. Our Ollama service is registered in program.cs with its own HTTP client. This must point to the Ollama AI agent, which is always at 11434. This HTTP client will be injected into our Ollama service. Here we see the generate SQL method we call from the query endpoint. First, we are going to build up a request that tells the AI agent to assist us in converting the natural query into a valid SQL statement. We also specify the language model that Ollama should use. This request is very important for the AI agent to understand what we are expecting as output. Then we call the generate endpoint on the Ollama API and pass it the request. From the response, we read the content as a string. Now, because this content is a continuous JSON line of text, we need to break it into separate lines, then parse each line until we get to the response line. We add that to a string builder. Once done, we get the final SQL from the string builder, and if it's valid, we pass it back to our query endpoint where it will be passed to the people service for processing. And that's the whole workflow. Along the way, we also did some logging to a text file, just for debugging purposes. Let's look at this in action again. This time, let's give it a trickier prompt. Show all people with first names starting with A who are male and older than 30. That looks right. We will add a sort by last name. It seems to handling the prompts okay. When we look at the log file, we see the first SQL it generated was perfect, but when we added the sort by last name, it suddenly decided to use the incorrect column names. Luckily, the validation method would fix this, and the SQL result comes out okay. Thank you for watching our video. For more tutorials on C#, click subscribe. Give us a like so the video can be visible to more people.